Today, we want to bring a special episode to y'all. As the unconnoisseurs of jazz, we've had the opportunity to look over the top 100 jazz albums that have shaken the world. But this week, we've had something that has shaken the world from here on out, and that is the loss of the great Chuck Mangione. For many people, they got into the trumpet or flugelhorn because of his sound. His
Me.
you and me, we've picked up his sound and it has stuck with us. From that, we want to recognize the great Chuck Mangione. Charles Frank Mangione was born in Rochester, New York in 1940 and was a world-renowned flugelhornist, trumpet, and composer, as well as a jazz pop icon. Raised by loving Italian-American parents, Chuck found his musical passion early, switching from the piano to the trumpet after being inspired by the movie Young Man with the Horn, a loose story based on Bix Beiderbecke. So today, we just thought that we'd get online and talk a little bit about the influence that he's had on us, the music that we know him for, or the brief study and homework that we've done just today to say, let's honor the great Chuck Mangione. So, good to see you guys.
Yeah,
You too.
Yeah.
Welcome to our crowd, our followers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
A quick question, if I may. Matt, what year did I drive you to South Bend to pick up a flugelhorn?
It might have been 1985.
Yeah,
1985.
you bought a brand new flugelhorn then.
Yeah, from the factory
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
We picked it up at the factory, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
That's cool. You became cool even then. Even more cool.
Right?
Even more cool.
Well,
this,
I don't remember what year that we went to see him, but you took me to see him one year at the Embassy Theater. That had to been the early 80s, maybe 82 or 83, maybe 84. That would have been my freshman year in high school, but that left a lasting impression on me too. We waited, if you remember, you may not, but we waited until everyone left, and we waited at the front of the stage, and he came out and signed autographs, and I've got his autograph.
Wow.
Sure.
Excellent.
So yeah,
So that's the reason I drove you to South Bend.
it might have been.
man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that a lot of people have a lot of stories about how Chuck has impacted their playing style or their jazz journeys. A lot of this, I reflect on in the late 70s and early 80s, or even early 70s, was he jazz music or was it pop? And like the big band, I thought about this today. The big band of the 40s was popular music at the time. And some of the stuff that Chuck was doing in the 70s and into the 80s was popular music for him at that time. So was it jazz? And in this journey, Matt, you and I both realized that he got his early chops broken in with a 2.5-year stint with Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. You realize that he can play some bop, and all of a sudden, man, he kind of hit our radar a little differently that day when we realized that Buttercorn Lady.
Yep. The album Buttercorn Lady with Art Blakey. It changed my perspective of Chuck as being a easy jazz or smooth jazz, or I hate to call it elevator jazz. It changed my perspective on, wow, the cat really can play. I mean, he's a true jazz musician that influenced and crossed over even before some of Miles Davis's work to change jazz enough to bring out the flugelhorn and to do his own.
Yeah.
What's the genre? Is it smooth jazz? Is it easy jazz? What's the genre? Let me look.
It's music, baby. It's just jazz.
It's just
Let's call it what it is. And then
jazz fusion, smooth jazz, and jazz funk is what he's listed at.
Yep. And I saw jazz pop, which was an interesting one there. I did get a chance today to listen to the Jazz Brothers. that he and his brother Gap started back in the day. And to listen to that album from 1960, holy wow.
Yeah.
The sextet with him and that group continued for 4 albums. What an incredible bit of bop or bebop jazz. So my influence with him, obviously, when you think about playing an instrument and you go to a trumpet, then you wind up with flugelhorn. And so for me, the flugelhorn was a sound that resonates well with me with my trombone and tuba playing. So I like that dark, mellow sound of the flugelhorn. I want to play a quick clip. This is an album that, Matt, you brought to the table yesterday or this morning, Chase the Clouds Away. It was from 1975, and after listening to the album twice today, I thought, boy, this really speaks to my desire as a flugelhorn player. Can't We Do This All Night Long is the track, and I'm going to start at about 2 minutes and 40 seconds to listen to him blow his horn. I would encourage y'all to go listen to that album and to more of him blowing. But warm lyrical sound is what that flugelhorn and he was known for, and I've loved it.
That album that clip came off Chasing the Clouds Away, right?
Yeah, the album Chase the Clouds Away.
Chase the Clouds Away. So that's the one that I was listening to today, and I just got so excited that I couldn't even finish the song before I called you, just to say the cat can play. I mean, we've known it, but when you step back and listen reverently instead of, oh, it's background music, I'm working or mowing the yard. When you listen reverently, especially Chase the Clouds Away today for me, it shook me enough to where I said, I got to call Drew. I just have to call him. And if he hasn't put this album in, put it in, and just listen to it. Dad, you got a clip? What do you want to hear?
Yes. I would like to hear from Chase the Clouds Away, the first track on that, just from the beginning. And it's smooth like many or most all the other tracks on this album. So the first minute or so, 45
Song
seconds.
of the New Moon. I'll stop it there so y'all can go listen to Song of the New Moon on your own.
And the track ends similarly as it begins.
Yeah.
And it's all this beautiful rhythmic tones and interaction with the musicians. And I just really appreciate listening to this album.
A lot of his tracks, you just keep playing it. A lot of his tracks, what I notice is they start very quiet and they build and they build and they build to that crescendo. But even so, then they come back, even to ends. Sometimes they come back down. They get you Yeah, he sucks you in with normally the way he starts,
Yeah.
quiet and still intense, but and he can draw you right into the middle of that song, and he's got you.
Well, what I love about Chuck and what I've really appreciated getting into more of his music in over the last year really was that he always chose a big band sound. And I can see him hosting when he got to play on the Tonight Show or Johnny Carson. Fun and games. I think you're going to talk about that in a moment. But he gets up there and he is just so motivated, and the band is behind him, just blowing it in that big band sound. Coming from the sextet that he did in the 60s, he really did move the ensemble style music coming forward. And I want to talk a little bit about one of those nights after we listen to a clip from Matt. But that sound, that energy, that excitement, the smile on his face on all of his albums, just in general, he looks like a cat that I would want to hang out with on a cruise ship. You know, I'm stuck here for a week with you. He would be that dude. He's a cat that I could hang out with, and that's Chuck to me. So,
Yeah.
Matt, what did you...
Okay, so my clip comes from the 1979 album called Fun and Games. And the very first song, Give It All You Got. Go ahead.
Nope.
Yeah, let it play. Let it play.
Okay. I was just prompting it, and it kept
Yeah,
going.
that's all right. Yep. This is...
You want me to keep going, or you want me to stop?
No, stop. Because we're at the 2-minute mark. Just if you want to know. So that song, Give It All You Got, was the theme to the 1980 Winter Olympics. He also had the 1976 Summer Olympics theme with Chase the Clouds Away.
Yes.
So, you know, it's funny because people, and there's nothing wrong with remembering Chuck for Feel So Good. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. It's a great song. I love the song. I love to hear the song, but he's got so much other work that he should be recognized for, that it's
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's frustrating that it's only Feels So Good. Talk about King of the Hill a little bit. I've never watched the show.
It was weird because the first time, I'm not a big King of the Hill fan, but all of a sudden I'm watching it and there's Chuck. Well, he is the sponsor for Megomart, the local grocery store. So he is in multiple episodes throughout that process. He's referred to in a lot of other TV programs as well. So he is a pop icon above being a musician. But he cut his teeth at the Jazz Messengers. He's got 30 albums, 7 Grammy nominations, 2 Grammy wins. The man's got jazz for days. And yeah, so we know him for one thing, but branch out and look at really who this was. In that footage, in all of that you can get into, Chuck, the thing that struck me the most is our journey with Cannonball Adderley and his brother Nat Adderley. We did something else on our channel. Cannonball Adderley produced Chuck Mangioni's albums for the Jazz Brothers. And so there's a quick connect on that. And by the way, he never did play with Miles.
Nope.
But I do have a photo that I'm going to put up right now. He was sitting with Miles. I'll tell you where I found it later, but or where it was taken at, because I don't know right now. But he has played with everybody.
Yeah.
If you had to recommend an album besides Feels So Good from Chuck, do you think you could recommend an album to the listeners?
Well, honestly, this is the Chase the Clouds Away is one of the only albums, because I'm so limited about my understanding of Chuck Mangione.
Okay.
So that's where I'd go.
Okay. There's the thunder outside. I hear it.
Yeah.
Okay. I love Chase Clouds Away. I love Feel So Good. I actually listened to Children of Sanchez again today. But for me, Eyes of the Veiled Temptress. I love that album. It's one of his later one of the later in the career from 1988. It's called Eyes of the Veiled Temptress. I wore that CD out. I know the songs backwards and forwards, and yeah. So,
Okay, good.
Drew, what about you? Album?
Tarantula.
Oh,
It was the live album that actually was an 8.5 hour jam session, is what it turned out to be. What a phenomenal book of music. It was a
Yeah.
fundraiser,
yep.
and they just tore it up.
1981.
Yeah, 1981. It was so cool to me to listen to that album over. Fun and games, though. I mean, come on. If you need a smile, if you need to feel lighthearted and just enjoy some really great music, fun and games. But man, it was so, I don't know. It was so awesome. Two things. I want to go back to the dining room table. But at 15, he was given a trumpet, a bent horn trumpet by Dizzy Gillespie, who he referred to for the rest of his life as his musical father. So he would have cats over to play when he's in New York, right? Rochester, New York. So he played at Eastman. He would have people over. Dizzy Gillespie would sit at that dining room table. Art Blakey, Kai Winding, Jimmy Cobb, Sam Jones, Junior Mance, Cannonball Adderley, Ronnie Zito, and Ron Carter. And one night he calls home and says, "Hey, Mom, I'm bringing 35 orchestra players home for dinner in about 15 minutes. And she replied, "Cool. I'll have dinner ready when you get here." 15 minutes later, the table was set. They were having dinner. And I think about that kind of a musical background. If we called home and said, "Hey, Mom, the band's coming over for dinner tonight," she'd have dinner ready 20 minutes later. We'd
Somehow.
entertain it.
Somehow she would.
Yeah, somehow she would. So I started to realize who he really is. And that is what inspired me. So hopefully we're all inspired by the legacy that Chuck Mangione has left behind. Passing July 22nd of this year has left a big hole. And I hope that in the future we don't wait until the passing of these jazz giants to recognize the legacy that they have left in both music and the cultural world around us. So, yeah, to Chuck Mangione. I don't have my fedora or I would rock it right now. So,
We're going to miss you.
yeah. But in the meantime,
Thanks for calling us to do this evening,
Yeah.
Drew. Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
good.
For
and
sure.
we'll flip this out quickly, boys, so that we can honor the great Chuck.
Yep. And join us on our next episode as well.
Yep. Coming
All right.
out soon.
Coming out soon.
From us to
Peace.
you, cheers.